Welcome back to more tier lists. Today it is the Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. All masters and servants are going to be put in different groups of tiers. Obviously, a lot of people might say, well, aren't all the servants going to be better than all the masters? Not necessarily, and I'll explain why as we go. So, we are going to get started with a couple of my favorites, and then we'll filter in and around. So the first one of my favorites is, of course, Ryder from Fate Zero. No question, the most likable character in the entirety of Fate Zero. A lot of people might say maybe it was Kiritsugu, or some people might be a little bit in favor of Lancer, or maybe even Saber. But you know what? To me, it was my man Ryder right here. And this guy, even though he didn't really get to participate in as much as I had hoped, like we only got that huge moment at the end when Gilgamesh killed him, I really, really liked his character, but this isn't going to necessarily be about whether or not I like them. It's going to be better about whether or not I think they're powerful. He has the ability to put someone in a reality marble, and reality marbles are probably the strongest form of magic there is in this entire world. So that's the first step you have to think about. And the only one he ever lost to was Gilgamesh. He never got a chance to battle anyone else, so we don't know if he would have lost to Saber or Berserker or so on, right? But I think the fact that he only lost to the absolute strongest of the servants is specifically why I think he could be a lot better, but maybe isn't. So I'm going to start him off with a solid B. I think that's a good spot to go with. Would you guys want me? I want to zoom this in one. I think that might be a good idea. Is that going to look better? No, it's going to take. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be able to see. All right, that's fine. Let's go to, what do we want to go to, guys? That was a voice crack. Let's go to Kirei, because Kirei, I think, is extremely overrated. So, obviously, he killed his father, and then he had like 30,000 command seals all down his arm. And those command seals are what made him as powerful as he was. Otherwise, he'd run out of mana, right? We understand that. But the fact that he made it all the way to the end of the Holy Grail War, I think was ridiculous, and he wouldn't have done it if he didn't have Gilgamesh. I think if he had any different servant, it just wouldn't have worked. I mean, we saw what happened in Fate Stay Night, where he had Lancer, and he didn't really make it all that far with Lancer, right? So I don't think Kirei's all that impressive. I think he's actually big time overrated, and I think I'm going to give him a C, to be completely honest. Karya. So Karya was a character that was just very reckless, and what he wanted was to free Sakura, and so he basically traded his life for it. And he tried to win the Holy Grail War, lost it, and ended up dying. He literally won and accomplished nothing whatsoever. And that sucks when you have a character that goes through all these different things to free Sakura, and instead he just dies, and Sakura isn't freed whatsoever. And it's like, oh, great. Well, I mean, I didn't really get it, but it made sense to the point of like how depressing his story was and how it really didn't matter at the end of the day and so on. And that sucked, man. That wasn't cool at all. But I think we're going to give Karya a D in terms of power. Like, I didn't think he was that great. He had a great servant. Like, he had one of the absolute best servants, but I don't think we can really do much more further than that. Let's see. Let's just go in order. So, Kaneth. Kaneth was Lancer's master, and Kaneth had a lot of good different abilities that he used against Kiritsugu. And to me, I think that Kaneth is one of the better masters. I would say that he's better than Kirei. I would say that his abilities are very good defensively, not the greatest in the world offensively. And we saw Kiritsugu did it straight up with smarts, was able to beat him, which is another big thing. So, Kaneth is one of those guys that I think might... I think Kaneth should be a B, but I only say that because I do think that he's better than Kirei. I think Kirei's overrated. I'm going to give Kaneth a B right next to Ryder. Natalia obviously is one of the worst ones. She was good with a gun, and she raised Kiritsugu. She basically became Kiritsugu's mother. That's it. That's all we really know. Was she good at what she did? Yeah. Was she better than Karya? No. Karya at least knew how to use magic. Not like he really could do much because of how strained he was from his... I don't remember what they ended up calling it, but the thing that made him half dead. So I think it really fits to leave Natalia here. This is Berserker from Fate's Day Night, in other words, Hercules. Now, what was unfortunate was the fact that Berserkers don't talk. Like, I thought it'd be really cool if they could actually, like, use Hercules and do this whole, like, Son of Zeus thing and essentially let everyone know how powerful he really is. I think that'd be really cool, but they didn't do that whatsoever, and it was kind of unfortunate. But I think that he is not as good as the Fate Zero Sir Lancelot Berserker. I think Sir Lancelot's a better Berserker by far. So I can't necessarily rank him until I get Sir Lancelot in there, but I'm not going to do that yet. So I think right off the bat, if you ask me right now, Berserker is stronger than everybody on this list right now. That's why they're Berserkers, because they literally go insane, and in a one-on-one fight, they can probably beat everybody. So let's do both him and Sir Lancelot at the same time. I think Sir Lancelot is far and beyond one of the greatest servants there's ever been in the entire series, and I think everybody would agree with me. The only reason why he lost to Saber is because Sir Lancelot and King Arthur know each other, and it was that compromised his judgment and caused Saber to win the fight. That was the whole point. Otherwise, Berserker would have easily beaten anyone else. He almost beat Gilgamesh. It was great. So if that's the case, then Hercules is going to be an A. Okay. What is this guy with the glasses? He's Shiro's friend from high school. The guy doesn't know how to use magic. We're going to move him down there. Lancer! Alright, so we've got two Lancers. Let's rank them both. Where's Diarmuid? Right here. So, right off the bat, if you ask me who's better, Diarmuid is a better Lancer because he has two lances. Simple as that. Also, if he hits anybody with his lance, they're permanently impaired unless that lance gets broken. That alone, as a Noble Phantasm, is way better than some guy with one lance. And Lancer could do a lot of the Fate's Day Night Lancer could do a lot with his one lance, but I think that having two and the things that those two things do are better. So I'm going to say that Diarmuid is a better Lancer than Lancer himself. I don't remember what his name was. I think it was like, yeah, I don't remember what his name was. But what I think is that if you ask me, I would probably put both of them at a B. I'm going to do kind of like what I always do with the left to right. I think Lancer is better than Cainith by far. Both Lancers are. Cainith wouldn't have summoned him if he didn't need him, right? So I'm going to do it in this order like this. I think that makes more sense. We're going to have Diarmuid is the better Lancer, and then the blue-haired Lancer is thereafter. And I love both of them, and they were both really likable characters, and it was unfortunate that both of them died. Tokiomi. So Tokiomi was one of the most respected mages in the entire Holy Grail War, and it was a shame that we didn't get to see much else because Kirei backstabbed him. Literally backstabbed him. And it sucked because I wanted to see, considering the fact that I watched Fate's Day Night first, and I was like, well, this is Rin's father. Rin is very good at magic. Obviously, her mentor, her father, should be much better, right? And it looked for a while that we saw a lot of cool stuff that he could do with fire and so on, but it just didn't matter because he didn't live long enough that it sucked, because I really think he could have played a pivotal role in the Holy Grail War, and it might have been Kiritsugu versus Tokiomi versus Kiritsugu versus Kirei, which is what I originally thought was going to happen. I just thought it made sense to have the Tohsaka and the Emiya go against each other. I thought that'd be a really cool thing that they could have done, but they didn't, so it sucked. But that's okay. Tokiomi is still really, really strong, and I think he's better than Kirei, because Kirei, the only reason Kirei even killed Tokiomi was because Tokiomi trusted Kirei. Kirei was his student, and he didn't think that was actually going to happen. Simple as that. This is Rin's mom. Obviously, you're useless. I'm actually going to add a... Yeah, we're going to add a bad tier. And that's where we're going to put people who don't know how to use magic. Both archers. One from Fate's Day Night, one from Fate Zero. So, obviously, this is debatable. This is debatable, right? Because you can say that the Kiritsugu Emiya version, or sorry, not Kiritsugu Emiya, the Shiro Emiya version of Archer is better than Gilgamesh because the Shiro Emiya, before he even became a heroic spirit, killed Gilgamesh, right? Right? That does make sense. But that actually isn't true. I think if you gave these two guys a one-on-one fight, I think that Gilgamesh would win. And the reason why I say that is because what you saw at the end of Fate's Day Night Unlimited Blade Works is that Shiro had mana that Rin gave him. the only reason he was able to even summon unlimited blade works was because of that mana. But here's the thing, even if he learns how to create unlimited blade works and does it with his own mana supply, he's still not going to have enough to make all the swords that he did and be able to defeat Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is still stronger than Shiro Emiya. That's the definite. What about already heroic spirit Shiro Emiya that didn't necessarily need extra mana to summon unlimited blade works and so on and so forth? Well, that's where we can we can debate this one a little bit. Will Gilgamesh lose in a fight to the heroic spirit Shiro Emiya, aka Archer? The answer is no. I don't think he would either. I don't think it fits. I think that if you ask me, the way the timeline really worked at the end of the day was that he was, at his core, Shiro Emiya, just older. I don't think that extra experience really would have made much of a difference. I think that having Rin's mana was such a huge pivotal thing that Shiro had, and I think that Archer, without that extra mana supply, maybe without even command seals to use as mana supply, it just wouldn't have worked. I think that Gilgamesh is one of the strongest servants, not the strongest, but I definitely think that both of these guys are S tier. No question about it. These guys are incredible. All right. We've got Assassin. And Assassin, it just sucked that we didn't get to see much from him. What was cool was the fact that he wasn't summoned by a servant, but rather he was summoned by a master. He wasn't summoned by a master, but rather summoned by a servant, as Caster summoned him, which was pretty cool. The problem I have with Assassin is that Assassin was never involved in any big fight that I felt like I was really wow, this guy's really awesome at what he does. I never thought that way about him, and it was unfortunate, to be honest. So I'm gonna give Assassin, I'm gonna give him a D. No, I'm gonna give him a C. There's no servants in C, but I think, in all honesty, I think Assassin is the worst servant of all of them. I think that out of everyone, the one servant you don't want to summon is Assassin. And I say that for both Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. Where's the other Assassin? Right here. This Assassin was actually a little bit better because you could have multiple of them. But he's probably still right there. I don't think he's that great. Okay. I don't know who this brown-haired girl is. I don't think I've ever seen her before. She might be... She's not in Rin's family. I don't know. Whoever she is, she doesn't use magic. Same with this pink-haired girl. So both of those are going to go in here. And we're going to move on to the casters. The two casters. So obviously, Fate Stay Night caster was better than Fate Zero caster. Fate Zero caster was a homicidal maniac. And that dude was absolutely insane. And, I mean, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say over the internet what this dude did with how many people he killed. But it was so unbelievably dark, and it was crazy. And I couldn't wait for someone to kill him, and then Saber ended up killing him with the Excalibur, and that was great, right? This version of Caster is weaker than the version of Caster that was in Fate Stay Night, and the reason alone was the Noble Phantasm. Rule Breaker is stupid OP, dude. You can have servants. You can be a servant, and you can have a servant. And even more so, if Caster didn't die, I had a pretty good feeling that just like Gilgamesh, Caster probably could have found a way to get herself materialized in that world as a permanent human being. And if that happened, it was over. She was going to take over the entire world. Caster was by far one of the best servants there were, and that's why she was used as a main villain of the series for the longest time. And it wasn't until she died that they switched the focus over to Archer, and it just made complete sense from there. Caster is definitely an A, and definitely better than Berserker. Okay. So we need to talk about this caster then. I think that the female caster is better. I think that this version of Caster, we know what he did around that bridge. It was great. I think if he didn't go nuts and he actually used his abilities in a proper way, he could have been a little bit better, but the problem was the dude was literally just nuts. I mean, I'm surprised that a dude that nuts can be a heroic spirit. I don't quite understand it, but it's what happened. I think that you put this guy in we saw how even Ryder couldn't deal with him. Ryder put him in the reality marble and had to just hold him off in there, and it took Saber's Excalibur to actually finally do something about him. Now, the fact that Saber was able to do that in one hit, but nobody else could do anything, really shows how weak the others are compared to Caster. That's another big thing. So he is, of course, better than Ryder. This looks like Gilgamesh, just edited differently. I'm gonna say, Gilgamesh is the same no matter what show he's in, so I'm gonna put him there. Also, I did have a non-magic group. That's where this guy goes. Who are you? I can't even tell. Can you guys tell who that is? Okay, let me zoom it in. Hold on. Who is that? Like, hello? Is that Assassin? Because I already put Assassin in. Is it supposed to be Assassin? I'm so confused. I don't know who that is, so I'm just going to leave it. I don't think that's a big deal. You guys ever seen that before? That was weird. Okay, we've got both of the... I forgot what your last name were. The Einsberns. Both of the Einsberns. We've got Iliasfeel and Irisfeel. So Iliasfeel was the only one that actually somewhat knew. No. Iliasfeel had no magic whatsoever, and she had other people summon her servant for her. And she didn't even have command seal, so technically she wasn't even a mage. So Iliasfeel actually was not that great, but Berserker did protect her a significant amount. And I will give her some credit because she at least knew how to control Berserker and knew some things along those lines. So I'll give her a D instead of putting her in bad. Irisfeel is literally the Holy Grail. Literally turning into one. She wasn't a mage either. She wasn't in control of Saber, and the whole point was just for people to think that she was Saber's master and so on from there. So that's another one. I think Irisfeel is the same, to be honest. I don't think either of them should move. They put older Kirei in here. I've already got younger Kirei. I will use younger Kirei as an explanation of both of them. I don't think there's a need to do both of them unless it's like a younger and an older version. Like there's a younger Sakura and an older Sakura. Now actually they both don't really change much, but still. Let's see. But like older Rin and younger Rin is an example I could do. Kiritsugu. They've got 3 different pictures of Kiritsugu in here, all for different ages. I'm going to use this one, the best version. Kiritsugu knew how to use his gun, and what I thought was cool is that they used magic in a different way than they ever have, I think, in any show I've seen, where instead of it being these different magical abilities, it was, I have magical abilities, and I use this gun with them. And I think that's a really, really cool idea. I think, by far and beyond, Kiritsugu is well, he's not my favorite character in Fate Zero, but he's one of my favorites. I think that if you compare him to, like, Shiro Emiya as who's a better main character, I think Kiritsugu went through more, but I think Emiya is the better character overall. And I think that, if you ask me, Kiritsugu was a little bit overrated, and he definitely only ever got to the Holy Grail because of Saber, and Saber was just incredible at what she did, and also he had the resources in front of him because of the fact that he had the resources in front of him because of the fact that he literally was Irisfeel's husband. So that made complete sense, if you ask me. Kiritsugu is cool. I think he was helpful. I think he was very strong. I don't know if I can really compare him to any servants other than Assassin. So I'm probably going to give him a B. I think that fits really well. He did outsmart Cainith, but he would probably lose to any servant. You were one of the Einsberns, and you just died to Gilgamesh instantly, so you're going to go there, and then there's another Einsbern in here I saw right here, and they all look the same. There's no way I could tell the difference between these two people. Like, how would I know one is each one? Like, come on, man. Alright. You were the random girl from the last episode, and it looked like they were setting up a third one when they introduced you, but you didn't do anything, so you're going there. Maya. Maya is basically Kiritsugu, but not as impressive. Natalia took care and raised Kiritsugu, and Kiritsugu took care and raised Maya. It was both kind of the same way. The difference is that Kiritsugu knows magic and Maya doesn't, so she's not nearly as good as Kiritsugu is, but she is pretty good with a gun, so I would say that does beat those two in C tier, and you can be right next to Natalia. You're probably not as good as Natalia, though. I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. I did not watch the original Fate Stay Night where this version of Ryder had a bigger role. Instead, all I saw was that she died instantly, so she goes in bad. No, she's a servant. She at least gets a little bit more respect than that. You are Kiritsugu's dad. You were a scientist. That's it. I'm going to move these two to the end so you don't have to see those. Rin. Okay, so now we've got both versions of Rin. So obviously, 5-year-old Rin who knew like this much magic is not nearly as impressive as older high school Rin who was one of the best mages ever, right? So we're going to put childhood Rin, because you know some magic, next to the gunslingers. I think these two that are good with guns probably equal to par with somebody who knows a little bit of magic. But this version of Rin, the version of Rin that summoned Archer, the version of Rin that in a one-on-one fight probably could have beaten Caster, who's the greatest magic user of all the servants, is way better than most people actually think she is. So much so, I'm actually going to give her an A. I don't care if people are upset at me about that. That's what I'm going to give her. Alright, so now we have Kirei's dad, who pretty much just died, and that's all he did. But he is at least a mage. He did have command seals, so he can go right there as well. I would honestly, I'll put Rin over him. That makes a lot more sense. Caster's master was literally just a homicidal maniac, and he didn't really know how to do anything else. Saber. So we've got two versions of Saber, the Fate Zero, the Fate Stay Night. We'll focus on the Fate Stay Night. That's the best version of Saber. And obviously, as I explained before, Excalibur is a stupid, broken ability. It can do so much. It can destroy so many different things. And we even saw Saber outsmart Berserker in a one-on-one to where she actually would have won. So I'm going to give Saber an A. I think that's a really good spot for her. No, she is definitely not the best servant out there. I think by far the three I have in S are better, but Saber is good. Okay. Sorry, I hit my mic there. Sakura, you literally cook food. That's it. I don't understand why you're even on this list. Like, oh, great, I'm going to cook some food for you. Here you go. That's all you do. Go work in a restaurant. This looks like... I like how this looks like Saber, but that's not Saber. Shinji. Shinji was pretty much just a master, and once again, he didn't do anything except complain, annoy me, and I couldn't wait. I loved it when Gilgamesh decided to use Shinji as the life vessel and the Holy Grail. I was like, please, Shinji, die. Get eaten to pieces. Just die. Nobody likes you. Get eaten to pieces. Get eaten to pieces. And then, you know, Rin, out of the goodness of her heart, decided to save him because at the end of the day, he's innocent, but still, that's not cool at all. Still sucks, though. We've got young Sakura. We've got... Who are you? What? Are you Kiritsugu's friend? I don't remember. Shiro Emiya is in here. Kuzuki, the principal, is in here. Waver. This is the guy who's like crazy. I always thought that he looked like the Emperor in the original 3 Star Wars, the Star Wars prequels. He looks just like him. This guy was like a genius when it came to magic, but we never got to see like what magic he knew and so on from there. I think with the fact that he has all of that respect probably puts him at least in C tier, so I'll give it to him. And then, so we've got a couple left. I don't know who this is. I think you might be Shiro's mom. The red hair would tell me you're probably Shiro's mom, because but we never actually heard much about Shiro's original parents, so that's fine right there. So we're going to do Shiro last. Yeah, we are. Fujimura is literally just someone that I believe was Shiro's... She lived in the same house as Shiro, or like Shiro was renting from her family or something like that, right? So she just popped up sometimes. She was pretty annoying. Kuzuki was actually pretty good. The way I look at Kuzuki is I look at him as Fate Stay Night's version of Kirei. Even though Kirei was also in Fate Stay Night, Kuzuki took the bigger spotlight, and he had the same ability as Kirei did. And I think that Kirei is better at it than Kuzuki is, but I would have loved to see the two of them just hand-to-hand combat go at each other. I thought that would be something that would be really cool, but we never got a chance to see it, and it was kind of unfortunate. Waver is the weakest master in every Fate series. Obviously, Shiro was probably the weakest when it started, but then he turned around to become one of the strongest, whereas Waver literally didn't do anything. He summoned Rider, and that was it. I mean, he really didn't do anything at all. So, Waver, you're not very good, dude. And, you know, as I said before, the ability to summon a servant is at least helpful, so you can be here. Now let's talk about our guy, shall we? Shiro Emiya. When I think about a great shonen protagonist, it's one that it literally has nothing, but then at the end has everything. It's always that build-up factor. Shiro Emiya is just some normal high school kid whose parents died and he's living by himself even though he's like 15 years old. And then by the end of the series, he's one of the greatest mages of all time. He's a heroic spirit and he wins the Holy Grail War. That is amazing. And I love shonen series like this, especially when there isn't a lot of drawing it out and everything builds on each other and every single episode is important. It is amazing. Shiro, by far and beyond, is one of the strongest people on this list. And I know everybody's going to be upset at me when you talk about the fact that Gilgamesh and Archer both lost to Shiro, but that's not the point, you know? What everybody has to understand here is that he had Rin's mana to do it. And so because of that, without Rin's mana, he wouldn't have even been able to create unlimited blade works, and Archer would have, not Archer would have killed him, Gilgamesh would have killed him. Yes, he did kill Archer, but the reason is because Archer let him kill him, because Shiro convinced Archer that, he convinced Archer and showed Archer who he really was, and Archer, had a sword and he was ready to take him down, but didn't do so because he realized that he was okay with the fact that Shiro was the way that he was. That's why. So no, he's not better than either Archer. No, of course he's not better than Berserker Sir Lancelot. Is he an A tier? Yes. Is he better than Berserker Hercules? Of course not. No question. Is he better than Rin? That would be debatable, but the two of them will never fight, obviously. So I'm going to have to give Shiro a solid A, and I'm just going to leave him right at that. I think that's going to fit really, really well. So that is the tier list, guys. This is what we're looking at. Our S tier is Berserker Sir Lancelot, Gilgamesh, and Archer Shiro Emiya. Our A tier list is Caster, Saber, Hercules, that version of Berserker, Rin, and Shiro. Our B tier is Fate Zero Caster, Fate Zero Rider, aka Alexander the Great. We've got both Lancers, we've got Kiritsugu, and we've got Kaneth. Our C tier is Tokiomi Rin. We've got, not Tokiomi Rin, Tokiomi Tohsaka. Whoops. We've got Kirei, we've got Kuzuki, we've got both Assassins, we've got Fate Stay Night Rider, and we've got, I don't know why I can't remember his name. Was it Zwite or something like that? I think that's right. I don't know. D, we've got Karya, Natalia, Maya, Young Rin, Kirei's dad, Waver, Iliasville, Irisville, and Shinji. And our bad tier is a whole bunch of random people that were just extras. So that's the tier list, guys. I really like how it kind of turned into a, like, look at this. It's like a staircase. I wasn't planning that at all, but it worked out. You guys are really cool. As I said before I posted this video, before I started recording this video, I should say, if you guys all voted, and I got so many votes, more than I have for any other poll, and this one was so close to Naruto, it was about 3% off, so I'm going to do Naruto as well, because that's what you guys wanted, so I'm going to do a Naruto tier list coming out soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the tier list. Be sure to go in the comment section below and tell me what you agree and disagree on. And also let me know if you think they're going to make another Fate series. I think just with the way they ended Unlimited Blade Works, they could do their own original writing and try and do one. I think that would be really good if they want to give it a shot. So that's going to be it though from me, and I'll see you later.